Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Caffeinated Librarians. I am your host now, Lewis. With me are my co-hosts, Joe, Simona, and Katie. Today we're talking about the movie called We Are Little Zombies, and I'm going to let Joe give us some background on the movie.
So, alright, this is sort of kicking off a series we're doing where we're all picking a movie we want to talk about. It's really not any deeper than that. We could have picked our favorite movie, a movie we think deserves more attention or got like unfairly maligned or whatever. And I picked this. This came out in 2019. It played some film festivals here. Not much was said about it. You look up the reviews and most of them are pretty just like, whatever, and they sort of write it off as like, oh, you know, it's quirky and it's like Scott Pilgrim, which I'll rant about that later. But
Scott Pilgrim is what I was thinking about.
I love Scott Pilgrim, and like I do think this movie shares some aesthetics with it, but like it takes it in such a different direction, and like it uses it to such different ends that. But yeah, it didn't get U.S. release until 2020, and like it sort of just came and went here. But I love this movie. It's on Kanopy. It's directed by
It's free.
Yeah, it's free with your library card. You can check this out whenever you want, as long as you haven't watched 10 movies already this month, but, you know. It's directed by Makoto Nagahisa, and it's about 4 orphans who find themselves emotional zombies. And they go on adventures, and they start a rock band, so, yeah.
Yeah. So, the Scott Pilgrim thing was, it's, you know, obviously that's like the first thing you think about. I will say, the one thing, Scott Pilgrim makes me tired. I like Scott Pilgrim, but I feel like it is exhausting to watch. This I did not feel that way about. I felt like Scott Pilgrim trying to hold the tone through the whole movie. I feel like it fell flat for me at some points. This I felt like held the tone that it shows you right from the beginning.
It holds and modulates it in interesting ways throughout, and so I think you never really get sick of it.
Yeah.
What did you think about the use of the audio from Madame Butterfly through most of the film?
I didn't pick that up. Is that the classical piece that's used? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The sequence where it's like really going hard and they're pelting the phone with the stalker calling her with baseballs.
Yes.
It sounds insane there. Oh my god.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out why they chose that aria, because for those who may not be familiar with the opera Madame Butterfly, it's about this Japanese geisha that falls for this American, I think he's an admiral, and he...
Admiral Pinkerton, right?
Yes, yeah. I think so, yeah. And he basically...
I know that from the Weezer album.
Marries her...
Is that what that's from?
Yeah.
He marries her as a joke to him. Madame Butterfly takes it seriously. He marries her, then he leaves, and he doesn't return until many years later when she's had a son. And prior to his return, she sings this beautiful aria where she talks about one day she'll see his ship coming in, and she'll see him from afar, and she'll hear him call out to her, and then she'll run to him. It's a very beautiful, heartbreaking aria, because that doesn't happen. So I was just trying to figure out because I'm assuming it was chosen for a reason, unless the director just liked the aria. But I was trying to figure out why he would have chosen that particular one.
I guess it plays into overall themes of grief as well, and sort of longing for something that will never happen. And I guess you could also read into it with sort of the dynamic between her and the creepy stalker piano teacher, as like she sort of said, like, make my parents disappear as a joke, and then
he actually went and did it.
Yeah.
And I like how you don't hear what she says.
Yeah.
until much later, once you find out he's killed him, he says, I did what you wanted. And I didn't even realize she had a missing, as she was playing the piano, I was trying to figure out, because some of her other fingers kind of bend in a way that I thought, is she simply hiding that finger?
No, she
And then I realized, like, oh, she doesn't have the finger. Yeah.
Yeah, when she held her hand up.
Yeah.
I can't even do it. Like, my hand doesn't do like that. It's so hard.
Like what, this?
My joints are just like not, all over the place.
Wow, my joints are working somehow.
It's like so hard.
I'm usually falling apart
It's
physically.
it's
so
not-
like,
It's so hard for me to do.
No, it's not easy either. I know what you're talking about.
It like hurts like going down my arm.
Yes.
Really? That
It's probably
hurts?
carpal tunnel. You know what I mean? Like,
No, I think there are, like, because I know this is going way off topic. No, it's kind of related. She's missing a finger.
I can do all of my fingers.
Yeah,
I can't bend this finger. I can't bend this part.
Yeah.
Because
Why?
and there's a scar here. I cut my finger and I cut
Oh.
the tendons, so I can't bend that part of my pinky.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
That's a story for off camera.
Yeah, when I watched this movie, there were parts that I definitely enjoyed. I liked how the imagery of video games becomes the metaphor for their entire journey. And to me that made sense too, because Hikari, he even mentions how he enjoys video games. I think he says video games are straightforward and simple. So he knows, like, they have a goal and like a set goal and an end goal. It says, I can follow that.
Question.
Yes.
Sure.
So I agree, right? And he goes back for the video game thing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason he says is because it's the only thing his parents ever gave him.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if he didn't care about his parents, then why go back for it? I think that's the stuff that is troubling me emotionally.
Because I think that they do.
I mean,
I'm conflicted.
he's a kid and
Yeah.
he's
But
going
I-
through a lot.
but I
Like,
think-
I think
but-
that's really the
But
explanation.
I think that they do, because Lou and I and Kate, we were having this conversation off camera when I was talking about my thoughts on the film. And essentially, it's these 4 children that are brought together by the tragic deaths of their parents. They meet at the crematorium. And they
all
realize...
bully each other for saying mommy.
And they realize that they have stuff in common in that they come from less than ideal homes. So Hikari essentially came from a situation where his parents were kind of neglectful, the father was having an affair, the mom wanted a
I
divorce.
would say that they were distant and really
Yeah.
cold.
The the scene where it's like the memory of the father, like
Clipping his nails.
monologuing about why it's okay for him to cheat while
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
clipping his nails.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
audio of the clipping is so intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I really love about this movie is I feel like it's very good at evoking like sense memories in that way. Like the other scene with I forget the kid's name, but the kid whose parents own a restaurant.
Ishi.
Oh, yeah.
Ishi, yeah. And when his dad's like out there smoking in the back and going on about, oh, you know, when I was younger I cheated on your mother, all this, and like the camera's just sort of like moving around him.
Yeah.
It can't face him as he's saying this, and it's just
Yeah.
like that's such an accurate POV of like a child who's having something really unpleasant told to them by an adult.
Yeah. And at
Yeah.
that point, their restaurant has burned down too. And
That's
I-
before it's
That's
burnt
right
down.
before, yeah.
Yeah.
I just
'Cause
got
he
chills, man.
tosses
That was
the cigarette
that's
on
a
the
great,
ground.
Great
Oh.
interpretation. I didn't really even notice that, but now you say that, I remember that scene and how they was showing all the other things and weren't really showing him talking.
Yeah, he's not even in focus. Like it's
Wow.
just
Yeah.
well, that's his background.
Yeah.
So that's
That's
why
awesome.
we love Joe, because Joe
Yeah.
comes with the awesome stuff.
And that's the stuff I look for.
Yeah. No, it's always interesting when you are able to catch things like that, and like all these kids, like, so Ishii comes from, like, his family owned a restaurant, the restaurant burned down, and I think that's how his parents died, right?
Yeah.
Did they-
yeah. And his dad's just sort of like a deadbeat loser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Takemura comes from a very abusive household. His father beat his mother, beat him, he was in debt, and they committed suicide. That's how they pass away.
And he has a brother. Right?
Yeah.
Milk
Yeah.
is love.
Yeah,
An older
that whole
brother.
that whole sequence was very Japanese. Like I say, I'm watching a Japanese film right now.
I love the punk band
Oh
scene.
my
and
God.
I love his monologue at the end of that sequence when he's like, you know, some people say red is love, but red's blood.
Yeah.
My brother said white is love.
Yeah.
That's milk. Maybe it's love is pink, like
Yeah.
milk mixed with blood.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hate pink.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Because so and I had a point. I'm sorry, I digressed so far from what my point where I was going about the grief. Yeah,
Yes.
that was my point. I'm sorry, I digressed so far from that. But I think though that they are trying to process their grief, and I think also as children, they may have a more sort of, I think their view is more like, these people were awful, why should I be crying? Like, I'm not going to waste my tears. Like, if you look at all the adults, like, the whole funeral scene was funny for me. Because Hikari's just looking at everyone's like, oh, everyone's crying. A lot of crying is taking place.
Performatively wailing.
Yeah,
but they're not engaging with the kid who lost his parents.
No, and I think Hikari recognizes that hypocrisy. And even when his aunt, when they're saying like, "Oh my God, now we're stuck with him," yeah. And I love the scene where the aunt goes, "You can cry," and Hikari's just like, "You can say something."
Yeah.
Your parents should. So I think there's also like talking about the expectation behind grief. Like, I think there's the expectation. Well, your parents died. This should be your normal reaction. But what they don't know is what was happening behind the scenes, because you have this facade, oh, well, these are your parents, they take care of you, they love you, why aren't you grieving? And then as you start to get to know the kids, you realize, no, their home lives weren't ideal. So in a way, their reaction is kind of normal.
Yeah, and
Hikari
at that point too, he's just in a state of total unreality. Like he's trying to just lose himself in video games, and like even when he goes to see his parents' bodies, like he's imagining it like a prank show. Like they're gonna run in and be like, "Ha ha, we gotcha."
Yeah, which I think also proves that in a way he is mourning. He just can't necessarily process it. But that scene got to me too, and even the whole scene about how it like I like when what's her name, Ikuku is talking to like the guy who's sweeping. She's like and you see the cloud of smoke from the bodies being burned.
Yeah.
Oh, do you think that's my mom? And I like how the guy just say, he's getting very technical, like, I think they mixed the bodies, so it could be everyone coming out from there.
But it's really just smoke.
Yeah.
That was kind of crazy at first, too, because it was almost like I thought that he was going to try to say, like comfort her and be like, no, don't worry, that's not them, that's something else. And then he's like, they mix them all together, it's probably,
Yeah, and now she's like, oh, and now she says, okay, like, I understand what you're saying. She just, like, continues clicking. But I think it also talks about, like, when you think about the funeral business in general, there's, like, this, they're getting your money. And I understand people have to earn a living, but it is also a racket. They're playing off your grief. So, like, there's the whole facade where the guy bows and says, let's wish them well. And all the people who are crying because they're crying for other reasons bow as well. So even that whole performative grief is also kind of comical at the same time. So you have that performative grieving, and then you have the kid goes, they're probably dust now. And then, like, they even collect the bones, and they have and, like, the way they're just like, oh, that's my mom and dad.
Yeah,
and just, like, putting it in the
chopsticks
jar. Yeah. So, like, all these things, yeah. It's just
what about when they're about to cremate the parents, and then they, the guy asks if anybody wants to say any words, and then the family pushes the kid who just lost his parents up to say, like, if I were a kid and just lost my parents, I would not be able to formulate.
Are you going to be able to say anything coherent?
Yeah.
Like, it's...
Well, I mean, just from my own experience, I lost my grandfather, who was, like, my best friend when I was 9. And we had a close relationship, and I cried for 4 days straight. There was no way that I was going to be able to conform any type of words of grief at all. So
did anyone ever make you like approach a body and touch it?
No.
Never
touch
touch
it.
it.
Made me touch a body.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind
Did
of.
someone make you touch a body?
And maybe I remembering this because I was very young when a relation passed away. Oh, did I touch her? Or I kissed her on the cheek. I don't recall what it was.
That's a thing some people do.
Yeah,
I've never had the stomach for it.
But I felt the whole thing about funerals, though, like, not to interrupt, but when I was attending it, because, like, the person who had passed away, I had no real relationship with her. Like, I would see her, she was the grandmother of my cousins, but I didn't really have much of a relationship, so I kind of felt false. Like, I was like, this is definitely not a good situation, but I'm not going to cry. I said, because, like, I have really no so I kind of understand that almost the need to sort of show grief, even if you're not necessarily feeling it. I mean, obviously you wouldn't want to start laughing or like being irreverent during a funeral, but I think it's almost that expectation that you're supposed to react in a certain way. But I think also...
But even then, laughing at funerals is a pretty common occurrence. Like, sometimes people just, like, it just overloads them and they just process it like, oh, God.
That's weird, too. But I think that also goes to basically how you're expected to respond versus human nature. Because I've had it, too, where you're nervous and you'll smile or you'll laugh because you're so nervous that you don't know how to respond to, and it's interpreted as, oh, you're not taking this seriously. But literally there are people where that's all they can do because of the anxiety or like, so even that too, because you're expected to behave this way. Even the whole scene where the car is pulling away and he's holding his father's funeral and he drops it, and almost like the sound is like the one that breaks the sign, and they're all staring at him. And when I watched, I was like, oh my God, he dropped his father's portrait.
I think it was his mom's.
Oh, it was his mom's?
It was his mom's
portrait. And as
portrait.
I was watching, I was like, oh my God, he dropped it. It was obviously he was startled by the sound of like the horn going off. But the way people react to it, it's almost like he broke protocol.
Yeah.
So he picks it back up and he's trying to like dust off the glass and sort of. So I liked those moments. Those moments were really good. Basically, how you're expected to behave in a certain way, and then life happens. And you just respond in ways that are probably not what's expected of you, but that's sort of how you process it. So that's what I liked about the film. Other aspects were a bit jarring. Can we talk about the homeless scene?
I love the hobo band. Are you kidding me? They're so cool.
Yeah.
Maybe it's my personality. I'm a very introverted person, so if a bunch of homeless or people in general start playing instruments, I was like, I don't know. It reminded me of this video.
You're one of those people that don't like to be sung happy birthday to, huh?
No. Don't ever, no. So
I'm hiring a mariachi band.
No. It was reminding me of this video where it's these 3 dogs in the back of the car. 2 are huskies and one's a golden retriever, and the huskies are going at it howling, and you just see the golden retriever. I was like, that would be me. I'd be the golden retriever. Like, you see he's like I don't know what to do in the situation. So like that whole scene, because I think all the music and like the lights, I was like, oh my God.
I just love that.
Get me out of here right now.
They're working in, they're they talk about due to the new anti-homeless measures in Tokyo, we're not allowed to sleep on benches anymore. So, and it's just like, oh God.
There's a lot of social commentary in that film.
Yes.
So Japan has, because I know in this country it's a big thing with specific cities how they're building anti-homeless furniture.
Yes.
Where it's like spikes, not jagged, but basically stuff to make it you can't lie down.
It disgusts me every time I see it. It's just like, come on, you're not giving these people the help they need. At least let them sleep on a goddamn bench.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Or even sidewalks or in front of certain buildings, they're putting spiky things so you can't sit comfortably to avoid people loitering in front of the establishments.
A lot of times they try to hide it. Like, it will just be like a bench, but like there'll be bars. So like it's individual seats, but it's meant so someone can lay down there and sleep.
Yeah. So I didn't realize in Japan they're doing the same thing, but I saw a lot of social commentary sprinkled throughout this film.
Yeah, I think it's some of it's a little a little on the nose, but I still love it. Like the scene with the zombies in the subway and they're all looking at their phones, but that's beautifully shot enough that I'm able to forgive.
I did like that too, because it reminds me of, and I didn't know this was a thing. So in Japan, there's a lot of crowding on mass transit, so there are people that their job is to make sure everyone's squeezed and then
they have the big gloves for it
close the doors. Yeah. And there's this one guy, God bless the internet, because I loved the meme. He was like, that guy is determined. And it's literally a guy that, I don't know how he's just like this. And he's being jostled, and like, you see the guys are trying to close the door, they're pushing, and he's just like, I'm going to be in this train. That's his whole goal. And then the doors close, and you see like they're so proud, and they bow as the train leaves. I didn't know that was a thing. Can you imagine in New York City if we had people doing that?
Oh, the people in the subway wouldn't have it.
Oh, just
wouldn't have it.
Manually closing the doors. But the whole zombie scene, that's what it reminded me of, because like a lot of that mindlessness, how you're disengaged in everyday life, like either looking at your phone, and I thought like that is such a nice metaphor. And like the kids running around are the only life in the thing, and they're just like avoiding. It's also like the whole game metaphor. You're avoiding the zombies or whatever. But it's true. Like a lot of people talk about it, how everyday life you're so disconnected from things because you're sort of mindlessly walking towards something. So I thought that was also nicely done. That was one of the funnier scenes. And when the aunt realizes it's her nephew.
I love this zoom as she screams.
Yeah.
It just takes on the rhythms of a 70s horror movie. Like,
yeah, that was funny. And she's chasing him and they're like trying to avoid. And they're like, yeah, that was funny. There were funny moments. But there were moments when I kind of mentally checked out because I was trying to figure out what was going on. I was like, I don't understand what's happening.
Shout out to the craziest editing I've ever seen in the scene where Ikuko is walking home with her parents and she has the red balloon, and it's almost it's a scene that could very easily just be a tracking shot. They could have just rolled the camera along a dolly and gotten them, but it's like this bizarre stuttering thing where they keeps just cutting and they keep showing up at the right side of the frame and walking across quickly, and then it does it again and again.
I mean, the whole movie, while I'm in agreement, I like some of it, and others I think just kind of went over my head because I'm trying to understand what's going on. But the whole editing, like some parts actually just made me nauseous and I couldn't watch it. And I don't find that as entertaining or pleasant to watch at all.
I sort of seek stuff out that does that to me. So.
Really?
Why?
I love having a physical reaction to a film.
But
why?
Because I don't know, it's making you feel something. It's art. That's what it's there for.
That was actually the camera movements and the editing and some of the shot selections were actually what I liked about the movie the most.
Yeah.
Like just kind of like out of left field kind of shots and edits and stuff like that.
The director has a background in advertising and music videos.
Interesting.
So,
I could see that.
Now
Yes.
that makes
I
sense.
could see that.
He's done some pretty interesting short film work too. So
Oh, okay.
Do you remember I was telling you about my friend who I was having the argument about Zero Dark 30 and Amore with?
yes,
She's a big stickler for purposeful camera angles. Mm-hmm. I am the complete opposite. I was like, show me something cool.
Yeah.
This showed me something cool. Like, it was just like...
I think it's both cool and purposeful. I think, because some of it's a little show-offy, but most of it does get an emotional reaction from me.
Yeah. I mean, I just thought, like, the camera angle of inside the glass while somebody's drinking water, or inside the bag or something like that. It just, that kind of stuff was just cool.
When you're going inside the chip bag. I know what you're talking about. I kind of like those things too.
I mean, I like those shots. I'm not a stickler for like the precise camera work or anything like that because that's boring and sterile and it doesn't evoke some form of emotion. But when I'm very motion sickness, like riding a ferry, I get sick. I don't feel good. So when you have a camera that's jerkingly moving or isn't necessarily in focus, not like from a point of view of a kid who's listening to a parent talk about things that a child should not be knowing, like then it's not pleasant for me because then I feel like I'm gonna be sick.
No, like there's a scene for.
Oh yeah, no. I'm sorry.
No.
This is stylistically overwhelming. It definitely is. I love that about it, but I understand someone having a negative response.
Yeah.
I think the thing that jarred me a little bit too much was I liked their songs and stuff like that, but the constant game sound.
Yeah.
I think that was the thing that jarred me a little bit.
See, now the game sound though brought me back to when I had a Game Boy or a Game Girl. Game Girl. I think it was.
No,
called.
they were just all Game Boys.
A game girl. What's a game girl?
It was
a gamer girl. A girl that played games.
Thanks, Lou.
Do you mean a GameCube? Did you
No,
have a GameCube?
I didn't.
I never had a GameCube.
GameCube is one of the best consoles.
Yeah. Never had a GameCube.
Never had games.
Used to play GameCube a lot though at friends' houses.
Yeah, I had a Game Boy.
Yeah.
And on Tetris.
Mine was lime green. What color were yours, guys?
Mine was purple, and it was see-through.
I
Nice.
inherited my siblings, so first I got my brother's blue one, and then I got my sister's lime green one.
Nice. I had like the original big block gray one also.
My dad did as well, and playing Tetris on that, the opening of Tetris It's like with the opening of the handheld game, the Hikari had just reminded me of that, and it felt very nostalgic to me.
I'm a fan of the video game stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get me wrong. I felt like it was just too much throughout the entire.
No, I
movie.
understand.
Best Game Boy game?
It's gotta be one of the Pokemon.
It got to be right, like
Pokemon.
Probably Yellow.
I had Pokemon Blue.
I'm a big fan of Crystal.
Yeah, I don't know that I ever played Crystal. What was the difference between them? Were there differences?
So they
Game Boy
come out with different generations of them. So like the first one was red, blue, and yellow. Yeah. And then they came out with gold,
and also,
silver,
if
crystal.
you noticed that when you played Pokemon Blue, the screen was blue.
I didn't notice.
That's only if you had the color though. So.
Oh, well. Yeah. I had the color.
Yeah.
So,
I'm pretty sure my lime green was Game Boy Color.
Yeah. I
should try to find that.
I got rid of mine a long time ago.
It's a shame.
I know. My brother had what's the Pac-Man game in the style of an arcade game.
Oh,
nice.
I used to love that. He had that, and he had
Donkey Kong?
Yeah.
Nice.
Like that. I used to play the Pac-Man one. I wonder if my brother still has those. But that was really cool. I like that. So that's the extent of the game. I never had games when I was growing up.
Yeah, I definitely think this draws a lot from Earthbound in terms of stylistic inspiration. It's a 90s RPG about just kids walking around suburbia, and it deals with a lot of existential stuff too. So I think that was a big mark on this. Yeah.
Oh.
I liked the shot where they're walking on the rooftop of the building. I thought it was very game-like, how you're avoiding the obstacles.
That was cool.
Yeah, the overhead shots are a lot of fun in this.
Yeah.
Scene I really like when Ishii comes home to the restaurant. The dude's going off on that insane song about octopus has the brain of a 3-year-old. And the camera's just drunkenly swaying around, taking in all the sights.
Was that scene where the camera's moving like that, and I'm sitting at my desk and I'm going, I'm going to be sick if they don't straighten out. This isn't fun.
And whose perspective are we supposed to be seeing this? Is another restaurant goer?
I think that's just the camera.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I thought maybe it was.
I think it's just capturing the vibe of this is sort of a boozy, everyone's a little up. You have to bleep that out.
Dolphin sounds.
I love the dolphin sounds.
There comes I need to bring them back. I was using the bleeps again, so dolphin sounds are going to have to come back.
Dolphin sounds are nice. Funny. Yeah, that was a good moment. I was even thinking about the good food,
the stir fry looked so good.
Yeah.
Very good.
And I like how the only thing he salvages is his
the wok.
Yeah,
and he uses it as a drum.
Yeah, but how happy he is too. I like how they each salvage something from the wreckage that is their home life. Hikari's the games, Ishii is his wok. I don't know what the other two. Oh,
the piano,
the camera.
Yeah.
Oh, the camera. Oh, didn't they take her piano too?
I thought it was the piano.
They don't hold on to the piano though.
Oh no, they run away from the. Yeah, you're right.
That's very
true.
Yeah,
then they steal the Korg synth for her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love when she's explaining the camera and Hikari's like, "Are you ever gonna get that developed?" And she's like, "What? No."
Nope.
I just if I have the pictures, that means I have to have memories. I just like to point and click. And that's real. That is real right there.
I was surprised they still have cameras like that.
Oh yeah, you can get a disposable camera.
Yeah. Oh, you still can. For some reason, I think certain things just went away. I used to like the disposable kids. It was always did the picture come out? I learned a method afterwards where it guaranteed my pictures always came out really good.
What was the method?
So after I would click, I would pause for a bit and then slowly lower the camera down so I wasn't jerking it really quickly.
Oh.
And that made my pictures come out better.
It probably stops it getting messed up or any light leaking in. I want to get into film photography. I feel like that'd be a fun hobby.
Yeah.
My dad
it's just so fickle is the thing.
Yeah. My dad took beautiful black and white photographs of my older brother and sister because he had a camera.
Why none of you?
Well... that was in the 70s. I think that was probably the only. But I do have pictures.
He took pictures in the 70s of your brother and sister.
Yeah.
How old are your brother and sister?
They're 40s.
What year are we in?
My older brother and sister.
22.
In late 70s.
Oh.
My brother was born in 75. My older sister in 78.
Oh, that just feels so long ago.
But they're very beautiful photographs that my father took. But yeah, I have photos.
I guess I
too.
just assumed your brother and sister were like
Closer in age.
Yeah.
No.
Like 33.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're very beautiful. Yeah. Photography is something that I kind of feel like it's a shame that most people only have digital.
Do you have a younger sister too?
Yes.
And how much is the gap there?
We're 13 months apart.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Interesting. Because my mother's siblings, all of them, there's 6 of them, they're all 7 years apart.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Except my mother is only 6 years apart from, she's the youngest.
That's a long time to be having kids.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I was trying to see, I was like, oh, is this like something, is this like a thing? Like, you know.
Yeah, but how did we get to that conversation?
We
Talking
were
about photography.
We were talking about
Oh,
photography.
yes. Okay,
Because
that's
we like
how-
to go on long tangents
That's
that
how-
don't pertain to the topic that we were talking
Well,
about.
no, because we were talking about the disposable cameras, which I remember.
I
Also,
remember disposable cameras.
Speaking
Yeah.
of photography, I love the mixed media approach in this movie. I love that, like, you can tell some scenes, like, he probably just handed out iPhones to a bunch of people to get as many angles as possible, like when they're performing in concert. Like, the footage is notably a lot grainier, a lot worse quality from the source, and it's just like, oh, that's really cool, though, because it's just like, get everything. And, like, oh my god, the scene where it's the flashback to Akari's birth, and it's just like very in the moment cell phone footage.
I loved that.
Oh my god.
That was like
Totally transcendent.
Yeah.
Because you're watching this
It's just-
hyper stylized movie, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden just like real, just like.
But I like
phone
it because
footage.
I was trying to figure out, because the whole bus scene, at first I thought, did they crash? Like, I thought, like, did they crash? And then you see, like, I'm wondering, okay, there's this fluid, this gooky fluid. I'm like, okay, so where is he supposed to be traveling in? And then I realized, like, oh, it's the womb.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's what you guys got from that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I looked at that and I'm like,
It's-
what the hell's going
Yeah,
on?
it's like
that's
amniotic
sort of like
fluid
yeah, but like
and-
you know that's sort of like the classic like death womb comparison.
Yeah, and I
like-
thought
It's
maybe
not the
he would-
comparison I got
That's it.
at all.
That's-
Maybe
a
I thought he
thing.
was reborn. Like, at first I thought, oh, did they die and now he's going to have a chance? Because even the way the parents are talking about him. Because remember when he explains that, like, I think his mother says, doesn't she say that at one point she didn't really want him or she wished that she didn't have him?
yes.
Yeah.
And then, like, when he's born, the way the parents are lovingly choosing the name
Yeah.
for him.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, oh, it means light. And you get the feeling like, were his parents ever that way? Did something sour along the way? Like, sometimes that
Yeah,
happens. and
Yeah.
And I think it's the relationship.
Yeah.
Mostly. But that part, I mean, that part was the part that like sold me on the movie. Like I liked everything else and I was like, okay, this is a fun movie and everything. And then that I was like, this is like next level shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That, you know, I really did think that they crashed and died or were dying and he's seeing his life flash before his eyes.
That's what I thought happened.
and then the fake end credits,
which
just to,
which blew my mind because I thought it was real. So when it said continue yes or no and kept going back and they said no, I was like, what a badass way to end a movie. And then but I'm glad that it didn't end like that because it would have left too much
it'd be
unsaid.
pretty mean if this ended with it was the right choice for them to want to die.
Right, yeah,
Like,
definitely. So I'm glad that it didn't end that way.
Okay,
but
so clearly I didn't realize that it was a fake ending. I thought it was actually the ending.
But I kinda
and I
thought
stopped
that would've
watching,
been
so I
a-
have to
You
keep.
did. Oh my god.
Oh, spoiler.
But I would have kind of liked that ending.
That's what I was saying. So I thought it'd be kind of badass, but
I mean, I understand.
so much
maybe
would
no
have been
one
left
wants to see-
unsaid, though.
I'm very moved by the actual ending. Though.
Same.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Also, yeah.
I think them walking in the field,
Yeah.
the shot where it's all of them on like
Yeah.
head-on perspectives, just walking their own ways,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just like the line of life moves on
Yeah.
undramatically.
And didn't a lot of the dialogue, and I'm sure everything was scripted, but you know how some dialogue, it seems natural the way someone would talk versus highly stylized dialogue
Yes.
in films? like a lot of it felt like, okay, this could be actual people talking.
Yeah.
Because I like how like you talk over someone sometimes, or like someone starts something but doesn't finish. The other person, like it seemed natural, like the way most people when you're having an avid like conversation, like there's gonna be people who stop talking about something and something else picks up. So it seemed like it was very natural the way they were talking.
Yeah, and I liked the ending when they're all going on their way, and it's like they came into each other's lives at a very difficult point, kind of went through what they needed to go through, and now I got the impression that now they're okay, and they're going to be good. I don't know if anyone else saw it that way.
I think they're as okay as they can be under the circumstances, and they're ready for life to go on undramatically.
Yeah, because they're talking about starting school.
I mean, like, especially since they lost their parents in a very dramatic, very violent ways.
Yeah, you almost don't think about it, too. I mean, a car crash is
stuff
devastating.
where the bus driver is harassed into killing himself.
Yeah.
Did I miss that?
Oh, that was heavy. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a scene of like a message board like doxing the guy.
They like find out who he is.
Yeah, sending his image around.
Which that has happened. Like,
Yeah.
I remember with the not these people. I don't think that was the case necessarily, but with the whole Sewol ferry incident in South Korea, which were like I don't know how many school children died.
I think it was well over 100
because their ferry boat was sinking, and
died.
They were told not to evacuate, but the ship captain evacuated firsthand, and basically the whole thing was the way it was handled. But one of the rescuers, because a lot of the rescuers were fishermen, and one of them, he was so riddled with grief and not being able to save everyone that he actually took his own life, because he was so devastated with that he could not save as many as he would have liked.
Also, there was an incident in the UK where radio announcers had said that a nurse had leaked the name of Kate and Williams' child, and she was getting so much harassment by it that she actually committed suicide.
Oh.
Who's Kate Williams?
Kate
and Prince William.
Oh.
Kate and William.
Oh, I thought you said Kate Williams.
No,
I'm sorry.
Kate and William.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't. I must have missed that part about the bus driver.
Yeah, I must have missed it too.
Because it's not. You don't really know what caused the accident, right?
He fell asleep.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I must have missed something.
I missed something as well. I didn't know that.
Was that clearly stated? Or was more...
Yeah. It's after they blow up. And
I'm sorry.
Ari gives that interview where he's like, he's the end of level boss.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. Then I wasn't paying attention. Then I guess to
because I know sometimes you get information like it's like a background thing or like a newspaper clipping. So I thought
was like a solid 5 minutes.
He fell asleep. Oh, okay. Oh.
So was it the interviewer that had said that to Hikari?
Several characters mentioned that he falls asleep.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know what happened then.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what happened.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's okay. I don't know how I missed that.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be like obviously, you know, it's an accident. That's why they call it accidents. Mm-hmm. You know, and I mean it's stuff like that unfortunately happens every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not like he was drunk. It's not like he was doing anything wrong. You know, the guy fell asleep, and that kind of stuff happens, and it can ruin people's lives.
I forgot recently there was he's a serviceman, and they were abroad. I don't know if it was Italy. I cannot recall what country. And he suffered the effects, I think, of like maybe altitude. It was it was beyond his control. He he got knocked out, crashed into, I don't know if he killed 2 children. I cannot recall what happened. But and his wife kind of believes that they're using him as like a statement. And she was saying that the doctors explained that it was a result of this, that he wasn't drunk, he hadn't, and I think they're holding him in jail, and they're trying to get the American consulate to get him out of jail. I can't recall what country it is, but that was another case where he, I think, passed out as a result of, I forgot it's not altitude sickness, it's something that could happen. He says, like, it was not his fault. I think they were accusing him of probably driving when he should have pulled over, but I think it was something that happened instantly to him, where he just got knocked out and he crashed his car. But it's tragic when things like that happen beyond your control.
Was it the Benz? Did they say did he go diving?
I don't recall, but it's one of those things where it resulted in the death of someone else, and his wife believed they were using him as like an example. I don't think it might have been Japan. Yeah.
I also really like the music industry stuff in this movie.
Oh
yeah. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
I love just how absolutely craven all the entire label is. They're just like, no, you cannot show emotion, child.
Yeah.
They just.
I kind of liked how quick all that happened.
Yeah.
Like it kind of reminded me.
It's sort of sold on like they become a rock band. It's maybe 15 minutes of the movie though.
Yeah.
Like
do you ever watch like those really bad movies about like bands coming up and everything like that, and they're always bad. They're not good. Like they reminded me of Josie and the Pussycats. And it was like how bad that movie was and just how like draining that movie was. And then to watch this, it was like they took all the good part. They were like, we're not going to dwell on this. We're like, we're a famous rock band now. We're not going to dwell on the stuff that rock bands go through. Like it was like this is how those rock movies should go.
Yeah. I really love that hellish talk show they go on. Or like the dude's a Simpson-looking centaur and he has an eyeball sidekick.
Yeah. What is he? Doesn't he ask them like just crazy questions too?
Yeah.
Like doesn't he ask them like how do you feel about your parents dying or something like that?
Just really awful.
Like what?
Well, I think that's also like a commentary on how talk shows and morning shows are now, where they ask these really stupid questions of like how do you think I would feel?
Yeah. Just weird.
Yeah, beautiful cover of that zombie song.
Oh, I loved it. That was great.
Yeah, and all of the original songs are primo.
Yeah, God. That song stuck in my head. Going back to the bus driver, that thing, when that happened and he starts getting like blamed and everything like that, like I felt bad for the guy. You know what I mean? And I kind of, it reminded me of Manchester by the Sea.
Yeah.
And like how bad you feel for that character, because like it wasn't really like it was his fault, but like it could happen to anybody and it's an accident. It's just, man. And then when he grabs the cop's gun and tries to kill himself but the safety's on, that's an intense movie. But that's really what it made me think about. And then obviously he did go through with the suicide. I think because the movie has such a I say noisy was the word that came to mind when I was trying to think of the tone, but I don't mean that in a negative way.
No, I get that, yeah.
Because the movie has such a noisy vibe, something like that, like, I feel like had the potential to not hit as hard, but I don't know. I thought like that was like kind of an intense scene.
Oh, yeah. It's a real high wire act, and like there's some stuff where I'm like, how is he able to pull this off?
Yeah.
Like, but somehow all of it hits. All of it still connects. It doesn't, at least to me, it doesn't feel like it cheapens any of it.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Oh, random scene I adore when they're talking to that skater kid.
Yeah.
And like, the kid just shreds it up, and then they're interviewing him. And they're like, you must be really popular at school.
Yeah.
And
he's like, no.
No.
And he has zero friends.
Yeah. It's just like it's such a hard-hitting moment.
Yeah.
That one also seemed pretty, like, almost like it was not scripted. Like, that's the feel that it got.
He seemed like, I thought that kid, I was like, that kid's cool, though. Because he almost seemed like he didn't care that he didn't have friends. He was like, no, I don't have friends. I'm cool with it. Like, I mean, he didn't say that, but that's how I felt.
But his whole demeanor was like,
it was just like,
gave that off.
I was like, I looked at him and I was like, yo, in 5 years, you're going to be the most popular kid in school and you're not going to care. People are going to love you. Like, you're going to be the it kid. Keep going.
Yeah. Well, he'll have a
lesson to all
career.
kids. Just don't care what other people think, and just do your thing.
That was an awesome scene.
Yeah.
I liked the tricks that he was doing. That was a good moment.
Yeah, that was when he was using the 2 feet.
Yeah.
I was like, how the hell is he doing that?
Yeah, and like you said, like it almost just goes documentary mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's sort of just like, whoa, oh, all right.
Oh man.
We're going in this direction. Okay.
Yeah, and also his reaction is very understated. I mean, when you see the people around him, the way they're reacting to it, yeah. But I also did like the scene where the music teacher's calling her and they're using the phone for like practice with the baseball bat.
I love when they run afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's true, like, and you wonder though, like, do they eventually meet up with any other members of their family? Like, I kind of was left wondering, well, what's going to be their future?
Yeah. We need
I
a
think
sequel.
that's-
I think
that's
Ikari
what
mentioned he's
yours-
just gonna end up with his aunt.
Yeah. But I think that's the point of that, is to
Yeah.
make you wonder what's going to happen to these characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Katie, you should watch the last 10, 15 minutes.
I'm
of
going
this.
to. I'm going to. Because I truly thought that was the ending, and I was like, what the
You gotta
hell
check the time.
is this?
Yeah. Yeah, I did too. I mean, I really did think it was the ending, but I kind of like stuck on the credits for a little bit, and then, boom, he wakes up. Like, wow. But yeah, what a crazy ending that would have been. Again, though, I like the ending, and I'm glad that they ended it the way they ended it, because there would have just been too many left unanswered
Also,
things.
a
Yeah.
question for anyone who knows more about Japan than me.
Mhm.
There's a lot of water bottles in this where the water is just colored. Is that just a stylistic choice, or is that a thing?
The water's colored.
Yeah, like they'll just be water bottles and it'll be red, like
Oh yeah.
red
Oh,
liquid
I don't-
inside. Is that like
I
a
don't
thing
know.
they sell over there, or is it just like he was just dyeing it for the scenes?
I mean,
I don't
he
know.
probably could have just been dyeing it for the scenes. I honestly don't know, because I watch a lot of Japanese food vloggers, and I mean, they have like one of my vloggers, I think she's from Korea. I don't think she's from Japan, but they get like these packets that are filled with like powder. It's either like Crystal Light or the
Yeah.
kombucha powders, and they put them in the glass and they'll fill it with water or sparkling water, and that's what colors it. But so I don't know if it was actually a thing for the movie, or if he just decided to dye the water a certain color.
There is a cafe, shout out First Village Coffee in Ossining, that sells kombucha. And I was told kombucha is very good for you.
It is very good
Health-wise.
for you. Mm-hmm.
So every Sunday morning, I have been going and getting a kombucha from there. My goodness, it's disgusting.
Oh, you don't like it?
Oh, I can't stand it.
What flavor is it? Do you know?
I'll have to look next time I get it.
Because I get kombucha from Adams Fair Acre Farm near where I live,
Yeah.
and I love their fruit punch flavor, and I also love their
It's
Pink Lady apple
Definitely
flavor.
not fruit punch. I would love fruit punch.
Yeah.
But it's so good for you that I've been trying to drink it. And the guy behind the counter is like, "Hey man, you're doing good things for yourself." And I was like, "Good, so I could have a burger and wings later during the football game."
You know it's gotta be bad when the guy behind the counter has to give you a pep talk about it. Like,
I do also get my double espresso coffee too. Yeah,
Oh, you get double espresso?
I get a red eye. I get it black coffee, 2 shots of espresso.
Jeez, you must be buzzing by the end of that.
Oh yeah,
Are you crashing at any point?
I crash all the time. Yeah.
It's a good feeling.
I'm a high flyer and a low diver. Yeah.
but yeah, movies on Kanopy.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Overall, excellent. Give it a watch.
Yes, definitely. And Kanopy is a free service that we offer. If you have any questions, give us a call and we'll talk to you about it. But it has a lot of great films on it.
It does. I'm actually watching, is it 2 Days, 1 Night with Marion Cotillard right
I
now?
don't know.
I don't know it. But
Yeah, it's, I love her. She's a very talented actress. And it's about, she needs to basically convince people that she works with
Uh-huh.
to give up their bonuses and let her keep her job. So,
what happens if they don't convince?
She gets fired.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you trying to tell us something?
I'm just saying, let's have some heart, people. But
honestly, I think I would give up a bonus if I knew someone would potentially
was going to get fired. Yeah, I think I would too. Yeah.
Because you can always get a bonus
probably.
another year.
Yeah. Yeah.
That person lost their job. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Katie, you wouldn't give up a bonus?
Well, if I need the money for something, I'm sorry.
See, and that's how some of the people in the movie are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you would have somebody get fired?
Wow,
Making Katie sound so bad.
They really have bangers on Kanopy.
There's some good
putting me
movies.
on the spot, Lewis, and I don't know how I appreciate that.
But I mean, she has to go up to these people, and she's going up to them in person and asking them to vote for her to keep her job. And there are some people that are like, I just can't do it because, for whatever reason, I need the money. And I have to look when the movie was made, but I'm pretty sure it was like right after like during the financial crisis and stuff like that.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, now even then, it's like people need those bonuses, maybe
Yeah.
to keep their house, maybe to pay bills.
I guess it would also would depend on your circumstance.
Exactly.
Like if you're the type where it's like...
They have benediction on Kanopy. Hell yes. It's the new Terrence Davies movies. I've been wanting to see that for a while now.
So that's another reason to go check out Kanopy.
Yeah.
Promoting this service hard. Kanopy. You want to close us, Lou?
Well, guys, this was wonderful. This was mind-opening. This was existential. I think our hearts and our minds were explored today. And we hope you enjoyed exploring our thoughts with us. So on that note, on behalf of Joe, Katie, and Simona, and myself, we bid you adieu.
Bye, everyone.
Until next week. Goodbye.